beating OpTic is playing the game correctly. That's the #1 thing, because I feel like they're just highly dependent on kills as well. They try to get all the kills, and usually they do, but if they don't, if you start to slay them, you start getting your kills, then there's a high chance you would beat them instead.
EnVy as a team, they have 4 players who really make up a good team. They have 2 people who are really knowledgeable and 2 people who just have really good raw skill.
I think the factor is beating them in hardpoint. Very, very, very good hardpoint team. You can beat them on it, and if you really take that first map and beat them, I feel like you have a high chance on beating them.
We just have to be faster than them. I think when we get kills, if we capitalize on it, I think if we were to play them, it'd be a 3-1 or 3-0.
3-2, we beat OpTic.
Welcome back to the Call of Duty Global Pro League Stage 1 playoffs presented by the PlayStation 4. Day 2 now in full effect. Up next on the main stage, OpTic Gaming versus Team EnVyUs. Of course, we heard from both of our 2 teams there, and they're both obviously feeling pretty confident, as you would expect. But I'm going to go straight to the chase. Aches, I'm going to come and ask you the question. It's all over my Twitter timeline right now. I see all the fans tweeting it. Is the 7th, 8th curse, is it real? Is it a real thing, Aches?
I mean, you gotta think, in the last 2 years, the 2 biggest Call of Duty Champs events, 15 and 16, they got 7th, 8th, and this technically is the 3rd biggest event in the last 2 years. So they're in a position where they're facing a really good team. Elimination could happen again.
I know the Envy curse was real for a minute when I was on the team, the 2nd place curse.
Yeah.
Happy they finally broke that curse at least.
You weren't responsible for that, but on the other hand, I was responsible for that.
Oh, wow, you're just going to go ahead and
I felt defeated. 2nd place was my best placings for Envy.
Obviously, talking a little bit about Team EnVyUs, though, something that we noted yesterday, actually, in one of their first games when we were watching Proof was, we said, John, he seems to be playing a little quicker, he's playing a little faster, and then we kind of said, oh, I wonder if he's increased his sensitivity. Maybe that's the factor. He has. Yep. He's gone a 5-5 now as opposed to 4-4. How much of an effect do you think that's going to have?
I think he has more movement now. He's able to play his game at that speed with the higher sensitivity. John's always been that natural aggressive player. I feel like with the lower sensitivity, it was taken away from his abilities. The fact that he raised it, he's actually able to snap on people, get those 2 pieces that you normally wouldn't see him get with the lower sensitivity just because he couldn't move that fast. I think it fits his play style and it's working out for his team right now, and he's gonna do a good job.
Something I want to note on is when these 2 teams played up in Atlanta, John was the one that basically secured that win for EnVy 1v4. I mean, he was like 40 per in the respawns, had an amazing S&D game. He's my player to watch.
Do you think he's back to kind of Black Ops 3, John, in your opinion, Momo?
I mean, I've seen him have a bit of a tough series, during the weeks. Yesterday he was phenomenal, but I need to see more of that throughout today, through Sunday as well, if they continue to go through it. But for me, John, the change in sensitivity, whether it's a playstyle change as well, what he's done between then and now, it's working for them. And like Ake said, he was that player to really solidify that win for them. So he is the player to watch. He is kind of the X factor of EnVyUs right now, and we talk about apathy being that player usually. But my eyes are on John.
Then, of course, for OpTic Gaming, they find themselves in the losers bracket. As we mentioned, this is elimination game proof. I mean, what kind of OpTic Gaming are you expecting? I know they were here really, really early.
That's what I noticed. OpTic came in early today. They were getting their warm-ups in. They were getting their scrims in. They were in before EnVyUs was here. So they are the new OpTic that we're used to seeing once they go down day 1. No excuses. They come out day 2 firing at all cylinders. So I'm ready for them to go absolutely off. Envy has their work put out for them in this series.
You definitely do. Of course, I asked Aches prior to that commercial break his prediction. He thinks this is going in Team EnVy's favor. Momo, you kind of take a gander at this one. You're going to go against Aches again, the master of predictions.
I mean, he's been right so far, but his luck can only go so far. I'm just going to go
against...
It's
not luck, it's skill.
I'm going against it.
I'm going OpTic Gaming, and I think this is a 3-1 victory for OpTic.
I mean, here's a look at some of the stats. Hardpoint up 91% for OpTic Gaming, 66 for Team EnVyUs. S&D, that is a little bit in EnVyUs' favor there.
Am I allowed to give 2 predictions?
No.
2? What kind of on the fence kind of prediction?
Team, if they win with the map count addition, you know what I mean? Like, I say OpTic 3-1, and then I say EnVy 3-2.
So if it goes game 5, you're favoring EnVy.
You're not allowed to.
I'm giving the map counts now for the choosing winning teams, you know?
Okay. You're trying to go next level thinking. I mean, here is obviously a look at our map set. Aches, when you see these maps, obviously, are you staying with your prediction? You still think EnVy's going to take this one?
I am, but there's 2 things I want to note. This is going to be a John versus Karma battle and a Slasher versus Formal. If we can see John and Slasher perform to their ability, I guess, and outplay those 2, I think this is an EnVy victory no matter what. But if Formal and Karma are able to turn up and see the Formal and Karma we've seen in the past, it's scary.
Exactly.
I think the breakout S&D goes in EnVy's favor. I think Throwback and Precinct are very much in OpTic side of the ball. But I just think at the breakout hardpoint, that fourth one, we know what can happen on breakout hardpoint. If EnVyUs get a good start, they can push a game 5. And you know what? I was judging Prue for actually having 2 predictions.
Oh, here we go.
This is what you've done to the desk. I'm changing the game up here, baby.
It makes sense. It really does. If it goes game 5, I actually see EnVyUs taking that 5th map.
All right, so to clarify, you're saying 3-1 OpTic Gaming, but if it does somehow go to a game 5, you're saying
I'm completely agreeing with Prue.
You're agreeing with
Game
that.
5
I'm with Aches on this one. You can't have 2 predictions. You got to give it one or the other. You
guys
can't
gotta
Let's have a vote.
Pick now.
Put it on the score
Just pick now. If you had to pick one,
Let's have a vote.
if you have to pick one, what do you take?
OpTic Gaming 3-1.
Proof?
OpTic Gaming 3-1.
Envy 3-1.
MV 3-1. So
Whoa!
you're all
Hold on, where did that come from?
you said that before.
That's what I said
You
first.
said that first.
I thought he said 3-2.
I thought he said 3-2.
No, he said 3-1.
Okay.
So
Oh, no.
which map do they drop? I guess is the question, Ace.
I think they win the S&D. If they drop a map, it'll be 1 or 3.
Okay. 1 or 3? Okay. I love how it's just kind of mind-blowing both of you. Is that really?
It was actually Apathy on the video who said, we'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
There's too many predictions going out. I'm just like,
There is.
someone's got to be right.
In terms of
Pat's gonna be right.
the key players for OpTic Gaming, in your mind, Momo, who are you specifically looking at to just go off? Obviously, yeah, we all know Formal's more than likely going to have a good game.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. But is there anyone else that you're looking at?
I'm looking at Damon for this map 1 against John. I really think it is kind of Damon versus John. Quite scary because John was on fire yesterday, and I didn't see, the Damon that I wanted yesterday, and hopefully he turns up. We know what he can do. He can influence a team like no other, and I've got full faith in him.
Definitely can. Obviously, that hardpoint map number 1 is going to be an interesting one. Excited to get it underway. As we said, the rivalry between OpTic Gaming and Team EnVyUs is one that's almost been going for a decade. You've obviously played for both.
Oh yeah, that rivalry is strong.
It's a massive rivalry. And as a player, when you're playing within one of those organizations, what's it like?
I've always said it's harder for OpTic because when you play OpTic, you have that energy, you have that motivation to beat them. They're already the best, and it's hard for them to find that inner energy to get them to that level, that top level that they're used to playing at. But once they take a loss like that, it's not that hard for them to get in the rhythm. So it's gonna be hard. I'm telling you, it's gonna be a hard series for Envy to win.
But on the play devil's advocate, Envy's in the same boat. They just took a loss that maybe they weren't expecting to take.
And they
now
have
they're
the momentum of
fired
playing
up.
OpTic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, here's a look at our hardpoint leaderboard. Shocker. Look who's at the top of that one. Formal, 1.38 KD. And you can see the time in the hill there as well. Pretty high, over 80 seconds worth. I mean, how'd you shut a player like that down, Ace?
On Throwback, you can't. The thing is, on Throwback, Formal is the better player than Slasher, no matter how you look at it, because Formal is so versatile with the K-bar, whereas Slasher loves the MV4. Formal, he can do whatever he wants on that map. He can be in the hill. He can get almost any cutoff kill he needs. That's why I favor OpTic for map 1, just because the AR battle is clearly in OpTic's favor.
I like that.
Excited?
See, now that I'm getting in the head of Pat, I understand his predictions now. I'm gonna sit and talk with you before I do my predictions now.
You probably should. He's been
Or
pretty
just stop
spot on.
his predictions.
Even throughout the group stages, Aches was absolutely bang on in his predictions, but I believe map number 1 about to get underway. OpTic Gaming, Team EnVyUs. It's an elimination matchup. We can send it down to our fantastic casters for the series.
Let's
it's
go.
Maven and Courage.
Thank you, gentlemen. We had a lot of predictions, like every series score possibility was broken down up there. But hey, bud, you just graduated. You weren't here yesterday. Congratulations. Good to have you back.
Feels good to be back. Excited, heard about all the crazy upsets, watched some of the plays. To be honest, didn't get to watch much from yesterday. It was too busy waiting for my name to be called out of a few hundred there back at school. But no, we're back at it here for the Stage 1 playoffs. $500,000 on the line. The big story with this match, and we were talking a lot about it, which team's going to be joining EG in that 7th, 8th finish, who will be eliminated to kick off their day on day 2.
And I mean, we knew coming in with that stacked top half of the bracket that somebody was going to find themselves in that position. Whether it was FaZe, LG on the other side, we knew there was going to be a very, very tough fight there, but we find it between Envy and OpTic. The question for me, E United and OpTic, the top 2 teams coming in. We saw E United bounce back in a commanding way in their series. Can OpTic do the same? This is going to be a brilliant matchup.
I cannot wait. Already we have a packed house here in the MLG Arena in Columbus, Ohio. Spread the word about the stream. This is the CWL Global Pro League Stage 1 playoffs. Maven, we heard 74 different predictions from our analysts. I actually don't know if we got anywhere with those predictions. Couldn't tell you what one is thinking. Where are your predictions?
I'm not ready to predict, but I'm going to tell you what I talked to the guys about. So I talked with the whole OpTic squad. I talked to Slasher a little bit from Envy. both teams feel very good about the map set for their particular teams. The only one that OpTic was kind of like, sort of 50-50 for us is Breakout, where we saw them struggle a little bit against Red Reserve in week 4.
Yeah.
But overall, outside of that, they feel very good. So I'm curious, who are you watching on both sides? I know for me, as much as they're talking about John, it's Slasher, man. He seems like since he finished school, he's been on another level. He's back to that top AR form.
Well, I like the battle, too, between John and Scump that we could be seeing alongside Karma. Either way, let's get it. OpTic Gaming versus EnVyUs. This is what it's all about, an elimination match. Let's get it started.
One of these teams going home, and it's starting off with John pushing top middle, teammates looking over him and able to pick up 1 second at the edge. Slasher's got your back, buddy. Everyone from OpTic Gaming now coming off a spawn.
Well, that's a perfect break you can ask for if you're EnVyUs. Already Slasher and John, the 2 key players that was brought up by Aches, getting 3 of those kills. They know OpTic spawning towards back barn, so what's John gonna do? Just try to stay alive in top food. He does a job long enough to now where his teammates can look over towards that side. Either way, Envy already up to a 20-0 start.
And I talked to Slasher a little bit about yesterday. I'm like, hey, is there something you need to change up? Did things feel off? What was going wrong for you? And he just said, no, we just had a bad day, man. We're going to turn it around. We're going to play our game, not changing up anything.
Well, already you see the crowd getting behind OpTic Gaming as expected. One of the larger fan bases in all of competitive esports, as they now fight for this rotation towards barn. And look at Krim, 6-1 start. Form will try to join him now at 4-2 as well, but Karma 0-4, 0 seconds in the hard point. He's going to need to pick things up on rotation.
Well, Krim has been playing fantastically, at least if you're looking at week 4. I know everybody kind of struggled yesterday, but with this streak going, he's 50 off, picking up the bombardment. Can he get fully streaked out? There's the gunfight. There's the 7 streak. Great start from Krim.
And I think Krim has finally found his spot on this team right now in Infinite Warfare, right? He is extremely versatile. They're letting him play more to his strengths, where he feels comfortable. Right now, not being forced into anything. He knows what he has to watch. You can see his job, make sure there's nobody catching them off guard from this back pinch. That's opening up the rest of OpTic to clear that field push. Now we're waiting on through. I believe we might need to get a restart here. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead, get an end there for the side of Envy. I was like, oh, maybe they're setting up extremely early for 2 hills from now at back baseball, but no, a little tech issue there. We'll get it fixed on the main side.
Yeah, you're going to have a reset here, but it's a scary start if you're Envy. I mean, hopefully it was something from the rip, I guess, because you already had Formal going off. Krim as well. I mean, they were up, 30 points, and Karma hadn't even found a kill yet. And I'm curious to see, talking a little bit about more about OpTic, remember at the beginning of the year, back to Vegas, saw the K-Bar in Scump's hands. He didn't feel comfortable really with the ERAD. He switched that, started to see the power of the ERAD, started to use it more and more. Yesterday, he couldn't really, he said he couldn't find kills with it. Like, he was double negative in Frost. When is that going to happen with him running around the map with an ERAD? So expect to see him switching it up, using the K-Bar a lot more. Then outside of Throwback, Karma plans to use the ERAD. He said it worked a lot for him week 4. He felt very good with it. We should see that in his hands a lot.
And you know what? You just got to go with what makes you feel comfortable. Yeah. Especially after a tough loss like yesterday. If that's where you want your team to go, then great. What we love to see, and especially from what we saw in OpTic Gaming when they were playing their best in the respawns, was that the players just brought out what weapon felt best. As we mentioned, the 4 ERADs on Frost Uplink we saw, where we had an ELO site ERAD being brought out by even Formal to keep the pressure going for OpTic Gaming. You mentioned we saw Crimsix in 1 series alone, started map 1 in a series back there in week 4, where he had the submachine gun. Game 2 swapped to the K-Bar. Game 3 went over to the NV4. That type of versatility lets OpTic Gaming have a ton of different play styles depending on the map and game mode combination.
I'm curious your thoughts on this. From talking to both teams, I saw it on Twitter last night, but there were some excuses coming out from OpTic, not necessarily, Karma even said, like, I felt like you were playing really well. We were just losing, blaming a bunch of different things. Whereas talking to Envy on the other side, they were just owning up like, hey, we played poorly. We're going to come in, we're going to play better. You think that plays into this at all?
Listen, it strictly comes down to who shows up for the match. You can forget about whatever happened yesterday. Knowing OpTic Gaming, they know they have to step up big time. Even some of their own most diehard fans were giving them the same old, death taxes and OpTic Gaming choking at major events, right? This is one of the biggest events of the year with how much money is on the line. OpTic, it's like this cloud over them. When you talk about champs, when you talk about these large major events, at some point, they've just got to begin to clutch up when the most money is on the line.
Well, I forget the exact stat. I know Matt said it a bunch of times, but if you're going to beat them, you have to beat them winners round 1, basically. If they win that, it's something like 24-1. I can't remember the exact stat, but if they get to winners round 2, they just dominate from that point. They get in a rhythm. But if you cut them down early, that's where they can struggle.
And FaZe knew that yesterday. FaZe coming into it, when they got the draw for OpTic Gaming, I remember seeing Clayster mention it. I think I was kind of watching his stream because there was everything going on. The immediate reaction came after, so we finished the show, went online to see people's thoughts, and I think Clay said something along the lines of, if there's ever a time to draw them, it's this first round. Yep. And they did their job. There was the banter with Killa. Obviously, Killa thought it was going to be 3-0 for OpTic. Clay replies the day after saying, "What's up, Sloss? We got the job done." So these teams know where the vulnerabilities are for OpTic, but we've also seen OpTic this year. They dropped in the losers bracket. That's where their run starts.
I'll tell you what, I know you didn't get to see all the matches yesterday, but it was Clay very reminiscent of the series we casted week 3, FaZe versus Rise, when like Clay struggled a little bit early in the series, and all of a sudden, like one big play happens, a second big play, and all of a sudden Clay just destroys the rest of the series. It was just like that, man. Rough game 1 and 2. Absolutely obliterated OpTic in maps 3 and 4. Is there going to be someone that steps up like that for Envy? We've been talking a lot about Slasher and John in this one. What do you think? You know, you heard Pat kind of talking about what maps. Well, he was thinking 3-1 victory for Envy. I think I'm favoring OpTic, obviously, a little bit more in this series just based on this matchup. But if Envy is going to take this, where do you think they do their most damage?
Oh, gosh. I mean, I think you got to start off as best you can on hardpoint. That was something that FaZe did, obviously, handing OpTic Gaming their first hardpoint loss of the entire Global Pro League. And I think that kind of showed in how much it helped them in the overall series. If I'm Envy, I'm looking for the same thing here. Do not let them get in their groove. Do not let them get the start they want. You think of what we're going to see in the map 2. I mean, search and destroy, again, one that can go either way for these squads. It's really tough to predict, but I think if there's one you got to watch out for, it's Envy and Hardpoint.
But especially, yeah, when you mentioned the S&D, looking at Breakout, though, again, OpTic was like, it's 50-50. They just don't feel comfortable enough on it yet, haven't played it as much. I like it a lot more than Scorch since it's been in the rotation, but the fact of the matter is, there are some teams that still don't feel like
that great on.
Exactly, yeah, they just don't feel great yet.
And
so,
is that they've only maybe played it once or twice at most in their
as far as on LAN,
yes.
yeah.
So yes, they could have done some practicing online, played it themselves, but either way, it's still a map that a lot of people are learning. Even look at the game we saw earlier, round 11. It goes down to some clutch payload uses make the difference. Nameless with that ace in round 11, at least one EG that map. We all know how that series turned out though, but again, we appreciate your patience as we're getting things set back up. Want to make sure everyone's comfortable and in the zone and working fully as we get into this game.
And now that we have a moment here, I think it's going to start shortly, but we can touch on the last series for a minute. What do you think about EG? You know, we saw them come alive really in that week 3, take the group. They went from looking like they didn't belong to all of a sudden looking like a top team. They come here and it's more reminiscent of what we saw on that day 1.
Yeah.
Do you think a change needs to be made? I think Nameless tweeted something along the lines of like, this team just doesn't have the slaying power we need right now.
And I think they brought it out when they needed to, that slaying power in their week, right? We saw the difference that was made when Nameless made that transition from the NV4 to the K-Bar, helped kind of pick up the pace of their team, and they looked just on the same page. But obviously, they beat out some teams there that aren't here this weekend. Now, when you're going up against the top 8 teams, majority of these gods.
Gods.
Let me swap that around.
The eliminated gods.
Guys are slaying gods, right? So when you face up against teams that are so good at slaying, that's where you're really going to see that struggle. Splice, think of what they did yesterday. And I saw the stat go out from JP from COD Stats mentioning how teams that outslayed and respawns were 10-0 yesterday in their matches. So slaying is very, very important, especially at these major events.
And it's an interesting point. I know it's only off of a series yesterday, but even off of one series, typically when we take a look at our top 10s, I was looking at the overall KDs, kind of not a single player from OpTic in the top 10, which is, I know it's one series, but still, that's very odd. I mean, even when they lose, sometimes they're out slaying. So I was really, really shocked to see that coming into this one. It wasn't one person that was taken. I think the highest was Scump with like a 1.04. Everyone else basically negative, which is just unreal when you're talking about this group of guys.
That's a team that went 10-0 in hardpoint in their week with, I believe, 3 of the top 5 KDs. So brought up Formal had like a 1.48. You couldn't believe it when you were looking at that.
Well, it dropped. Think about how poorly that series went for him. He dropped because those stats you guys are seeing, the leaderboards, are basically their week combined with the playoff stats. So he was a 1.48 coming in, dropped all the way to a 1.38. And that's a pretty drastic drop. I mean, is it hard to maintain a 1.5? Yes, obviously, but it's still a pretty significant drop considering the number of hard points they played.
Well, you can see on the screens there, looks like we're loading on up into the lobby. Here we go again, throwback hard point. If you're just tuning in, this is our second match of 6 today. Up next with prime time, we'll have some winners bracket matches going down. And then to close out the night, some more insane losers bracket action. This time around, though, it does look like we're watching from Crim's perspective. He had those full streaks in the first go-around. Let's see if we can have the great break again.
All right, on with Krim. Let's see how the opening goes. Obviously, some tech issues early in this one after things started pretty well for Envy off that opening break. Remember, Slasher started out 4-0. They broke through brilliantly. Can they do the same here? This time, kills going back into fourth. Slasher, though, opens up with one. Krim able to answer back with a couple kills of his own. Third out in front, but Apathy going to get the better of him. And the original opening hold going to be going to Envy.
Literally almost the exact same start that we saw Slasher getting to. Apathy now with the great pinch from Lemon, and this is actually big because last time OpTic got the second wave of kills, which kept them with these barn spawns. This time around, though, OpTic now spawning out. They're going to be fighting from the back foot in every single way. We'll see what they can do to get across the map. Slasher almost 5-0 off the break, does get cut down.
And I think one thing worth mentioning, we talked about everybody on Envy besides for JCap, basically. He was rough yesterday. He did not have a good map, really. And if we remember back to their week one, when he played well, they won. When he really struggled, they barely won, or they were losing maps. So let's see how JCap does throughout this series.
Well, you mentioned Karma with the weapon of choice here. There's the three-piece NV4 getting it done. And now OpTic Gaming do have those spawns. It really comes down to how long can they break, or how long can they hold this hard point here in Barn. Look at the pinch coming in from Envy. 2 players on the bottom side of your minimap, 2 at the top, and OpTic Gaming, I don't think they're prepared for this at all.
Well, here comes the push. Formal able to pick up the first. Slasher, though, finding one in the back. Formal now peeks, one in front, not able to win it. Apathy gets the better of him. We'll swap over to his POV. Time to fly on in. Weak player, second in front. Everybody dropping. JCap and Apathy doing the dirty work inside.
And the slaying early advantage over to EnVyUs. Karma, this time around with the ERAD, does get 2, but either way, that break so perfect from Envy. Now it's OpTic's turn. They're going for the same setup. 2 up top, 2 down low. The green wall surging on through. Not going to be enough yet, though, as JCap gets the 2.
So that's interesting, though. You know, Karma said he's probably going to use the NV4. He feels comfortable here, but he'll be the predominant ERAD user. He's going back and forth, which you don't really see that often on a map like Throwback, where you're swapping between an NV4 and ERAD. But if anyone's going to be able to do it, it's going to be Karma.
Well, listen, if there's any gun you're running where you want to pick up a secondary weapon on the ground and respawn, it's an NV4 player snagging that ERAD to make sure if an up-close gunfight does come into play, they've got that second tool to use. While the slaying did look in favor of Envy for the majority of that hill, and it looked like the kind of boys in blue were going to run away with the lead. It's OpTic Gaming now taking things back over. Now the score 46-0. They've got the setup they want, and look at the sneaky play from Scump on your minimap. He's near back bus. Envy have no idea he's here. He plays spoiler on that retake. OpTic Gaming now with their biggest lead of the game.
And that was Scump and Formal basically wiping out the entire team. Scump 2 on the flank, Formal 2 in front. You got streaks building for Formal, Krim, and Scump as they keep it going. Scump guns one top mid. Scump's another top mid. Finally going to fall, but OpTic starting to pull away here at Tracks.
And this is where OpTic begin to get scary on a map like Throwback, Maven. They just start throwing their bodies out there, making big plays happen. We know how important streaks can be as well. This is a very scrappy hardpoint map, the scrappiest of really all of them in the rotation. Karma and crew ready on rotation again. Karma's NV4 looking so good right now as he finally does fall. Either way, the damage has been done, but look at this spawn coming in for Envy. They spawn blue, and they're going to break right on in.
Okay, I didn't see how they actually got that spawn. You got a silo spawn, basically, for OpTic, the close one for Envy, and they're able to break very, very quickly. Now it's going to be on Envy to try and hold. Slasher inside with the NV4, gets the call to get back in safe for the moment. He's taking out JCap there as he's doing some work inside of top blue, but so good, so far, so good for Envy here at Baseball.
That was a great spawn for Envy to help them get control of this hill. OpTic, though, with the 3v2 number advantage, they've got an open timing to go for this push, and they will go ahead, give it the green light, charge on in. OpTic Gaming with the break.
They get a break with just about 15 seconds left. We'll see if they can hold the remaining time. The other players starting to fan the map. Scump and Karma getting out towards mid, trying to set up for the next hard point. Formal going to rack up the remaining time. There's the last gunfight. He's able to take out John.
And this is what we expected from this series, right? At the end of the first set of hills, everyone about even on the scoreboard, 90-82 the score. It's simply going to come down to, Maven, for me, which team can hold a money hill better, whether that's at Barn or at that back baseball hard point. Right now, it's gone. One team gets control, another team breaks within 15 seconds, the other team retakes on their next push. Very, very back and forth so far. OpTic Gaming, they'll back up by about 30 seconds.
Yeah, and like you're talking about the slaying, I mean, not only is it pretty even across both teams, but pretty even across all players. Like, there's no one really standing out that's been going off, building towards streaks. Like, the highest we've seen is, what, a 3 streak maybe throughout the course of the second replay.
Krim was in a great spot right there and accidentally gives away his position as he tries to pick off a player going towards top trains. Had an opportunity to really catch 3 members of Envy off guard. Instead, it's Envy who punish him for that, and now they should get the scrap time because of it. Thankfully for OpTic Gaming fans, though, your team is still in control of the spawns in your barn, so not too much lost off that.
Well, JCap got one. Karma should be spawning safe. He's going to spawn it back Lime. And now the push is going to come in. Well, it's going to get halted as 2 kills do come through for OpTic Gaming. They got to wait and regroup.
And they know JCap. They know exactly where JCap is here on these steps. So they're going to call out exactly what to watch. JCap still in food. Does not get the 2-piece. That's a big stop for OpTic. And now look at these spawns for Envy. They're all coming towards back baseball near this top field side. John's just trying to buy time for his team, and I think he's done just enough to give his squad an opportunity to break on in.
They're finally going to contest and get in. First points for Envy here at Barn on Apathy's POV. Several OpTic players around him. Takes it inside, wins one, snaps back, almost gets the pre-fire. And another OpTic Gaming player. He's just putting shots in everything. The Barn, the players. Apathy still gunning 3 streaks in a row, 200 off the Trinity rocket as he's just pre-firing every angle.
If I didn't know better, I would have thought he already had reactive armor, but look at the bottom right of your screen. He's going to earn it right there. Now on a 4 streak. Talk about a play that could be game-saving for his team as this game goes on, especially if he can get these streaks. There's one. Potentially bombardment as well if he can keep this one going. Now 22 and 13.
And we saw how big the streaks could be here. I mean, in our first series, E-United, every single player had streaks at some point. As hell raining from the sky on EG throughout the course of it. Okay, I don't think the FTL jump player actually killed him. His Formal didn't pick it up, but still getting away with his life. Already having to burn the Trinity rocket, so that's pretty huge if you're OpTic. It gets used that early.
Actually, really surprised to see that. I'm wondering if he called it in before the team kill happened from OpTic Gaming. Either way, we'll not have that tool to use as we go towards baseball, and OpTic Gaming still have the spawns towards that side of the map. 142 to 137. These teams still within 10 seconds of each other, Maven. So evenly matched to kick off this best of 5.
Envy trying to hold the line here, Jack, but OpTic finally starting to break through. It's Krim with a nice 2-piece with the NV4. John trying to rally inside, just play the contest fight here. He gets a 1-bullet Krim, another around the edge. He's going to slide out and challenge this. Scump, you're gone as well. Brilliant plays from John to get the opening.
And Envy are in a great spot here to make a big lead swing happen. If they can go for this break, they've got reactive armor. You've got JCap with his payload as well. John about to earn his Centurion. Fantastic tools to not only break in, but then hold the hard point. Yeah, look, they're putting a lot of resources into this. A Scarab, reactive armor. They want these full 45 seconds, and they're surging right on through trying to get it done.
But Karma still holding strong in the back. You have the blue spawn right now for Envy. They're going to be able to continue flooding. Karma pops it in the back, uses the camo. One more inside. He's trying to pinch his teammates here to help him. Jumps right in front. Finally able to finish it. OpTic has control. Everyone going to be pushing from blue for Envy.
Look at what Karma's done to stay alive with the camo. Backs up as well. Stays alive on his streak. The sign of a fantastic player right there. Knows that's not a gunfight he wants to take. Now he'll surge back in. There's the break. Karma, it's decisions like that that make him one of the best in the world.
He gets his full streaks without even having ammo and a gun.
Yeah.
He knows they toggle the hill. He slides in, able to get the bombardment. Brilliant stuff there from Karma, but it is still a tie game as we go out. 163 to 163. Let's head to our third side of rotations, Jack.
Karma again. Look at how aggressive he's playing with this NV4. Gonna go ahead and challenge top food. Gets the kill onto Slasher. OpTic get the break. As the green wall are starting to show some life. You've got 3 players currently positive for OpTic Gaming. Krim 25 and 21 though with his payload and 1 minute and 41 in the hard point.
And you see why Karma likes using the NV4, baby. 3 in a row, 26 and 22. Still streaks to use and getting close to another Trinity rocket here. Nice shots, just trying to tag them up in the back. Weakens both players.
Look at the assists that just keep raining in because the bullets he's putting in with this NV4. Karma about to double up on streaks. At this point, you might as well just start calling them in.
Yeah, use your Trinity, right? You just need an assist to pick up another over the top. Another Trinity is there. Wow. Can't get away with his life. But what a brilliant stretch of gameplay there from Karma. From a guy that started out 0-5 before we had to replay here.
Karma 28 and 23. Krim gonna go ahead and drop that Centurion. OpTic want to try to end the game here on Barn, and I can't blame him. They've got the tools to do so. Can Envy go for the clean break? Entry now from JCap. He's got help surging in from 2 different areas, And this is a great setup for EnVy. They get 3. There's only 1 player here. It's Scump with reactive. Can't get the second, though. EnVy with the break. Game-saving moment right there on the push.
Well, now let's watch EnVy's hold. You have Centurion to work with in the future. First gunfight goes to John. A second was pushing, but hit Silo. Wrapping back to help his teammates, but they've already won the gunfight inside. That was Apathy picking it up. EnVy trying to claw back in. It's Scump pre-aim there, prone around the edge, and he can't find it. Now to Slasher's POV, pushing out Silo's side of the map, able to gun formal, can't hit the edge before Karma. Now with the Erad in hand, so he's been in before, basically outside of barn. Look at it, 2-piece coming in, man. He's doing it with everything.
JCap again with a big 2-piece in the objective, 30 and 29 on a 5 streak from him, the 2-time world champion, showing up when he needs to. Now both teams have eclipsed that 200-second mark. It's all going to come down to the next couple hills, and this is where streaks can come into play. It's going to be JCap and Karma, both fully streaked out for these next couple hard points.
And JCap able to weaken a couple and finally find a kill there. Still a bombardment to go with. Trailing by just over 20 points, but picked off at mid-map. And look at the objective work from some of the veterans. Krim, 220 in the hard pit, minute 40 for JCap.
And look at how much information Karma's getting for his team. Picks off 1, calls out the last players in top food. He's going to try to at least
I thought he was going for Scump.
Yeah, that looks sketchy for a second, but it's Karma. He knows not to kill his teammate. 34-27 from him.
Back on board with formal gun by Slasher. We talked about
another
that
team
matchup.
Kill from Krim.
Team kill, Krim onto Scump. Krim, though, pushing in, has the NV4. Not going to be your weapon of choice at close range, but able to get one at medium. One more around the corner. 230 mark now broken for OpTic Gaming. Can't win it. John gets the better of him with the K-bar.
And John, because of that kill, will wind up getting the rest of the scrap time. He's got Centurion now to use as well. Formal with his payload. It's all going to come down to baseball. A break is needed for EnVy. Streaks coming in from JCap. They've got one final push.
There was a Scarab called out from Krim as well. The push down comes in. The FTL goes in behind. They're able to pick it up. Formal actually still alive. JCap now rounded the edge. They got the break. The spawn at Silo now.
John's got Centurion to use as well. He's going to drop that down. The good thing, though, for OpTic Gaming, this bombardment might actually blow it up, which will help relieve some pressure. There you go. Shuts down the payload. 2 now dead. Karma with someone right above him. He doesn't see him. Karma didn't see the player from EnVy right next to him. There's the kill for OpTic Gaming. This should be the game.
Finally able to win it. 240 mark, just need 10 more points. John going to be trying to push in, waiting on teammates to help, but you have to get in. You got to go right now. John gets one, but falls. The final push, they can't do it. OpTic Gaming takes map 1.
That's what we wanted, Maven. That is the game we wanted. Close to the end. It was tied 163 to 163. But OpTic on that last rotation of hills just get it done, and it all started at that middle hard point where they got 40 uncontested seconds.
Well, yeah, it looked like EnVy could win that game, though. You know, John gets a Centurion down, they're set up at statue, but that bombardment ends up being the difference. That's why streaks are so crucial. Not only does it take out the Centurion, it finds a kill. Scump gets one as well, and all of a sudden the floodgates open, and OpTic Gaming is able to push in. Streaks crucial in that one. But honestly, I think from both sides, you got solid efforts out of just about anyone. There wasn't even really the target that was going off, and Karma had some sprees, Krim had some sprees, but overall, that was just fantastic Call of Duty.
Everyone got involved from both teams down to the wire, 19 seconds the difference, but either way, we mentioned how big this first hardpoint was for a team like EnVy. They take that, they've got the momentum in their favor. OpTic again show vulnerability in a game mode that we see twice in a best of 5. Instead, it's now the green wall up 1-0. They've caught themselves now, and they can move forward in the series with a 1-0 lead.
Remember, we are going to break out a map that I don't know that either team feels completely confident on, but this is certainly one you can win if you're EnVy, and it's a must-win. You got to take this game, too. You just don't see them reverse sweeping OpTic Gaming with this on the line. Certainly it's possible, but so much pressure on this search for EnVy.
This map, for me, that I'm watching out for is what Formal does from the range, from ranges, especially near that site near Medical Bay, with that NV4. Is he that prepared for these setups? There's some cheeky little spots you can get in. There's that high wall run over the building. If you have a sniper that we see players like Nagafen attempt time and time again, how comfortable are EnVy on this map? Because I know OpTic, obviously we know they haven't played it much. We've heard them pretty vocal about it's kind of 50-50. Don't know what to expect from EnVy on this map. Do they have any set strategies they want to bring out? Do they have setups they know work for them? This is a must-win for me.
And you got to think with these two teams how different their road is here, in the sense that, you know, EnVy gets in with the 1 seed in week 1, and then they have basically, what, a month and a half they're kind of waiting to play here.
Yeah.
Whereas OpTic's the final week. They have a week and a half and they're here. It's a very different when you just talk about preparation. If you're EnVy, you're relying on online scrims and stuff to prepare over the course of that month. If you're OpTic, you get a few days in kind of between. I don't know who it works out better for, but if you're EnVy, you had a lot of time to prepare for breakout, you would think, in that downtime.
Well, we know snipers can be used, and we know John is one of the better ones in the game with that weapon. Does he use it this time around to challenge the likes of Formal from OpTic Gaming? Middle map as well is an area that can be absolutely pushed by a team on offense. It gives you so much opportunity to decide where you want to go. If you want to go in towards that bomb site in showers, kind of collapse on whoever's playing defense there, go for a quick plant. Or if you get a pick and middle, you can then rotate easily through mid-spiral. It's the fastest rotation between 2 bomb sites there is in competitive Call of Duty. Teams know that, and they're going to try to use that here to catch their opponents off guard.
And if I remember right, the thing that OpTic struggled the most with in their first Red Reserve was they got flanked so many times. Remember, Formal would be sitting in the back sniping, and someone would push through, whether it was the mid lane or like a long flank around Commissary. Like, he was getting shot in the back a lot. Like, they would push towards Grave, and all of a sudden they're getting tagged up from behind. They weren't really prepared for it. I don't know if it was a communication thing, a lack of maybe knowledge of the map, but there were a lot of awkward moments. We've seen that happen to them on Throwback at times as well.
Yeah.
We'll see whose responsibility it is to kind of deal with that flank. Usually it's Krim on a map like Crusher. He's the kind of that off guy.
Well, I think a lot of pressure, too, is going to be put on Karma for OpTic Gaming on this map. We know how hectic showers can be. ERAD is everything over there. It's why Gunless always seems to drop a ton of kills whenever this map is played.
Yeah.
Because it's just an area that if you are an up-close and personal ERAD player that can react quickly and put yourself in great positions, you will excel. Gunless, one of them, Karma, the other, both going to be rocking that camo. It's time for Game 2. Welcome, everybody. This is a marquee matchup, and it's just the beginning of Day 2. We still have 4 series after this, MLG Prime Time, and a hell of a lot more time looking at that beautiful man Proofy on the analyst desk.
He's been doing a great job, man. It's he's got just a natural energy, charisma. It's always been fun to hang out with him at events, and we love having him on the desk. I love you, buddy.
I mean, we were already the least 2 good-looking people on the broadcast.
Oh yeah.
But now we just dropped down a whole nother level. I mean,
I want someone to Photoshop Proofy's hair onto my head. I would look good.
You will find a way to still make it look terrible.
Here we go. Game 2. OpTic Gaming leading 1-0. Karma had a big map 1. The streaks were the difference. Let's see what he can do in Search.
I'm wondering now, especially with this weapon being brought out from OpTic Gaming, what their play is going to be. Will Karma be the one to watch over this outer wall run?
Can we check what Scump has real quick? Because I'm curious. Okay. He's right. All right, so this goes against basically everything they told me at the before this match goes, which is why I was surprised to see Karma had the...
And look at how EnVy are setting up right now. EnVy have completely forfeited this side of the map that Scump is near, but OpTic have no idea. EnVy are flipping the script from what we're used to seeing. Typically, it's offense that will try to push through middle and collapse into showers. Instead, this time around, it's EnVy doing that, and it's OpTic on the late rotation.
Well, I think Formal's getting into a gunfight right now with Slasher. They were looking at each other here across Graveyard. Slasher, for now, going to back up to Spiral. Looks to re-peek. You saw the scope there for a moment. And you just can't get the angle yet. Slasher able to win the first one as Karma pushes forward. Formal still waiting here patiently with the sniper. He's just seen a glimmer of him repeatedly.
Yep.
But good job from Slasher, not over peeking. Nah, oh God, if that cross doesn't come through, he probably hits the shot.
Yep. And Formal again, just trying to watch over this medical base side for his team. Saves his teammate's life. No, JCap actually, or John did get the kill.
1-on-1.
1v1, Formal versus JCap to kick off the second game.
And he just saw him at the edge, trying to get the K-bar, only has 12 bullets in the clip. Those 12 are not enough. JCap wins the 1v1. The veteran gets it done. Ooh. And that, I'll be honest, I would pick JCap in a lot of clutch situations, but in that type of gunfight, I would probably take Formal every time. But it looked like Formal's got like an awkward weapon swapping scenario there. It turned out to be a little bit of a goofy gunfight.
He kind of hit JCap with 1 bullet and tried to fly forward right at him, and JCap was ready for the slide. He was already pre-aiming that area.
The angle, you could see how much better it was.
One thing I do want to point out, I mentioned as this map was starting on up, that rotation through middle map. Look at how fast EnVy was there to help Slasher, who was the only one near that B site trying to hold off the 4-man push from OpTic. Nice job by EnVy to recognize that part of the map and win that first round.
Well, now a lot of the pressure starting to build into Graveyard. You've got a 3-man push from EnVy. Crim's playing back pretty far here, passive defense. Formal's going to be ready to hit Spiral if needed with that sniper rifle, but they pushed all the way into Medical Bay. Formal does see the angle, sees one for just a moment, not able to hit the shot.
John still just staying alive. He's got past his bomb, and now it'll be up again. See, this is the Arius with that long-range weapon. Formal repositioned towards his back tank. He's got some good cover here as well. And he's still looking for that first blood for OpTic. They're just staying down, letting Formal get a ton of information and look for that first pick.
Yeah, they're not giving him easy picks, right? They're just shoulder peeking constantly, making sure he doesn't have a clear line of shot. Last time it didn't open up really until the fight started to go down between both teams. Now they have swapped all the way over
Another rotation.
To the A site, they're taking their time. 25 seconds left on the clock. Plenty of time for the bomb plant. Now it's going to be a 4-on-4 hold. Apathy trying to be the first one out. Formal's already attacked one with the sniper. 2 players now down for Envy, turning it into a 2v2 as Apathy goes vertical, not able to win against Scump. It's now on Cap. He just clutched a 1-on-1. Can he clutch the 1v2? Only 7 bullets in the clip, and Scump says, no, sir. He's got the defuse.
You know, you mentioned how Scump at times feels like he's not too comfortable with that ERAD. He's one of the best submachine gun players to ever touch Call of Duty. Him not feeling comfortable is still him better than 99.99% of people with that weapon.
Well, he did kind of say, I mean, that was their plan coming in, but he's like, if I'm feeling it, we'll keep doing what we're doing. But it kind of speaks to the versatility of this OpTic gaming. When you have Crim, we've seen him use 3 different weapons in a series. Same for Karma. You see his ability to swap back and forth. Now Scump doing a lot of damage on that A site with the ERAD. We're going to be tied up at 1-1, starting things off with Karma.
Karma again with this NV4. Gonna be the one in charge of watching this wall run. This time around, Envy putting a lot more pressure towards Showers and OpTic. They've completely taken the page out of Envy's book from that first round as they'll put pressure towards middle. Both of these teams trying to adapt as the game goes on. Slasher with first blood yet again.
Karma might be able to answer back. A difficult and scary fight here with an MV4 at that range. Wisely going to go underneath, wrap behind, but John's already picked up a 2-piece. Karma, as he's dancing, he's not the last one alive. Apathy's in his face.
This is why I'm so confused by that decision from OpTic to still. Yes, Karma was snapping. Do not get me wrong. Karma was snapping with the MV4 to kick off that first map. But still, look at how uncomfortable he looks that entire time right there for his team.
Well, last time they started the push out that way, remember he had Scump in front, right, with an ERAD. He had kind of a lead man. He's looking over there by yourself, trying to push in.
There was never a moment that entire round where one Envy are going to peek towards that side because they've spotted Karma there early on. They just, you never have a player go out and just sprint into an NV4. No, they shoulder peek, spot him, and then play around that. There was never a moment in that round where I thought Karma was going to get a kill, especially with an ERAD waiting for him, holding that angle.
Well, OpTic getting aggressive on the A site and also at mid-map. Unfortunately for them, the entire NV squad has now pushed up towards the B site. I think it's Crim that's at Spiral, so he's able to get an angle on the cross. Trophy going to slow down that nade.
Again, Crim just trying to stay alive at mid-spiral. Grenades coming from everywhere. You got flechettes. You got the tacticals coming into play. Crim's going to have to back on up, and that'll let Envy at least get one player into medical bay.
Well, it's perfect. I mean, you have 2 players from OpTic trying to hit these steps, and they run into just a flood of nades. Karma playing in the back with an ERAD, see if he can catch one off guard. There may be a flank that'll develop. It's Formal, the number 2 in the minimap. It's going to take a while for him to get in position as Karma just trying to play his life.
And look, now Karma's got the weapon he doesn't want to have here. He wishes he had the NV4.
Right.
The challenge from back tank. Instead, it's an ERAD. Formal on the longest kind of pinch of all time. Crim with the first blood, and now this round looks like it's going to go in favor of OpTic Gaming. Yeah, they're going to collapse. It took a lot of time, but guess what? OpTic were patient. They never surged right through the mid-spiral until the pinch was there. Nice play call from OpTic Gaming.
Yeah, I mean, good discipline and patience from Karma. He didn't have a lot of options, stuck in that spot.
Oh, yeah, he had his high.
Not going to be able to push forward, but I think the fact that he had to kind of play slow and they weren't able to hit Spiral and they're backed up by those nades, it gave enough time for that flank from Formal to develop. And Envy dropped like dominoes once things started to roll. We're tied up 2-2. If you're just joining us, OpTic was able to take a very close game 1. Similar story, very tight game here in the Search and Destroy.
Now there's a little bit of a difference from OpTic Gaming. Karma back to the ERAD. He's already inside the site. He's already looking to focus on this objective, and he's got some help from his teammates in middle map.
Let's look at Apathy now, able to get a hit marker, but Slasher coming through on the flank. I think he just spotted a second player inside a loading. It's going to be a 3v2. Karma and Scump trying to clutch up for their side. They're sticking together here. They have to defend this bomb site now with it planted. I like this. Karma going to go underneath. Scump looking over the top. Here he comes to fly in. First kill goes his way. Still has Scump to work with. Solid patience here so far, making sure nobody's on the bomb. Scump wins another JCaps tag. That should be it. OpTic gets it done. Nice 2v3.
If you're OpTic, why is Karma ever running anything but an ERAD? On this map.
On this map. I was gonna say, he looked pretty damn good with the MV4.
Exactly. But look at how much more confident OpTic just played right there when you have Karma and Scump just sliding back and forth with 2 ERADs.
I mean, the only time it can hurt you is if you get in that spot where you are flanking around to the B side, or if you get stuck in one of those long-range fights. But in that position, yeah, I mean, you knew it was very, very winnable, and it looks to be the same plan. Double ERAD out again.
I think he was 0-3, swaps weapons, now 3-4, and OpTic have taken the lead because of it. Formal ready inside that Showers area, the spread of the map.
Well, it looks
Quite
like
far for OpTic Gaming, and again, they're just going to play for a retake near B.
Exactly. They're stacking mid, they're hitting aggressively towards the A site, and they're like, okay, if you want to plant at B, good luck getting across. You can back Crim up with nades at Spiral, but if you get that plant down, we feel confident about our retake. And to be fair, I mean, they were never able to really get a plant. They couldn't get out of Medical Blade last time. They had so much pressure on that stairwell. Could never really get comfortable.
And look, the shoulder peek from Karma just gives them the information that at least one player from EnVy is still watching this flank. They knew formal flank last time they were in position. Don't want to let it happen again. Crim, very smart to just back on up. Formal, though, gets first blooded by Slasher middle map. Nice shots from Slasher.
I think that's back-to-back times. Formal's been first blooded. He's been struggling a bit at first map, but still sitting at 3 and 4. OpTic is still up around. EnVy trying to fight back. You would think JCap's dead any moment, but he gets some help over the top. Now snapping back. Nice shots there from Cap, as he's had a couple clutch gunfights throughout this game.
Beautiful stuff from him. As OpTic, a lot of their setup right now on this map, Maven, relies on the player at that back tank staying alive. You think of when OpTic held last time, Karma got the 2-piece in that final kill cam. This time it's Crim in that scenario. He does what he can, but EnVy, 2-man high wall run. They trade the kill, and once they do that, they have full peace of mind that all they have to do is watch their back. JCap does it right there, cleans up that final kill.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they have a plan to really go towards the A site that much unless the defense gets mixed up. I mean, if you think Karma and Scumper to be sitting there with ERADs, not something you're going to want to deal with. Same plan here, but Formal now going to get the first blood onto JCap with the snipe. Scump and Karma on this side of the map starting to push forward. Apathy with the 1-bullet punch.
And that's what he's one of the best players in the game at. He did it last year in the CWL, showing it up again here in IW. 3-3 the round count, 3v2 though for OpTic Gaming, and they know both players are in showers, so what does that mean? Look at Karma on your map with the bomb, just sprinting as fast as he can to that other side.
He's going to sprint back to get the plant. Now, is anyone going to pick up the backside for Slasher? No, Slasher able to find a kill. Second to his right. Formal still sitting at loading. They've yet to get this bomb planted. Now they're playing back and forth. Some mind games going down right now in the 2v2.
So much wrapping of the objective. It's Karma, who originally had it in showers, brought it all the way towards his back wall run to his spawn, over to B, then back through mid-spiral, over to A. Did they plant in a spot where you could watch it from this back area? Especially with Formal still alive, they can go for a position like this. But no, they're gonna look to rotate again towards middle map.
Well, here they go, wrapping through middle. They were able to clutch a 2v3 earlier in this game in a similar spot. Can they do it again? Formal finds the first kill. Slasher now going to be the lone man, just waiting for the push, but they know they can play their time. Tagged up and dropped. They've won the 2v2. They've won the 2v3. I mean, I feel like when you come down to those clutch moments, it's either a JCap clutching up or a couple members of OpTic Gaming.
Staying active looks like the play of choice for OpTic Gaming in a lot of these rounds, especially on offense. And it's working for them as they're now back in the lead, up 4-3. They just need one of these swing rounds, right? That's to the point that it's at in Search and Destroy. Either way, Maven, the series has not disappointed with how close these first two games have been.
Absolutely has not. We're going to start with Karma getting very, very close to that camo. Formal already has his FTL to work with. We've seen him be very, very deadly with that in his back pocket. Peeking over the top is Karma. I believe he spotted at least one, expecting the push to come in. Scump's going to get pushed. Karma's going to have to help him. Scump, Karma, Formal on the kill feed. Now JCap left all alone in a 1 versus 3.
And look, he's trapped inside bottom middle. Crim gets involved as well. Everyone from OpTic with a kill, and there's a smile on Scump's face. You're just not losing showers if you have Scump and Karma there with ERADs.
Exactly. Like, they haven't had a chance. Every time it's come down to, whether it's like opening moments or closing moments of a round, if the fights are going down at close range around showers, every time it seems to be OpTic Gaming coming out on top. I mean, if you're going to be that dominant there, I guess feel free to take the gamble and be with the retake.
And look at what that round just did. The kill from Scump, the kill from Karma, get them two of the most powerful payloads.
Payloads!
A lot of P's there in the game.
You graduated yesterday somehow.
You can see it's done a lot for me in life. As now first blood for Formal yet again. No trade yet from OpTic. Formal tries to FTL jump into the side of JCap and John, but does get spotted.
Camo though from Karma. 1, 2, almost getting away with his life. Needs one more bullet. Sees him behind the box, and there you go. 2-0 advantage for OpTic Gaming. I mean, I don't know what stood out the most from OpTic's side. Was it the dominant play from Scump and Karma there? For Formal, it seemed to be he either was first blooded or got the first blood through a stretch of like 4 rounds.
That's all Scump and Karma for me. From what we just saw right there.
It was beautiful,
with the ERADs inside showers. It let Karma get all those plants to earn the camo. Wasn't like he raked up a ton of kills.
Oh, no.
Started off the game 0-3. How often do you see a player with camo go 0-3 off the break of a game and still earn it? In that map, it wasn't even round 11. Another thing to point out as well, we mentioned just as that last round was starting, FTL jump, reactive, and camo ready. Once they get first blood, everyone from OpTic goes, let's just fly at them, use the payloads, and shut them down from there.
Worked out beautifully there for OpTic as they are able to take the 2-0 edge here. I mean, they've been close, and Odin 6-3. Envy has played very well, though the question is, can they fight back? We'll find out after this quick commercial break.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is your G Fuel key player matchup for the E-Clasico between OpTic Gaming and the side of EnVyUs. Right now, it's OG with the lead, and it's Scump who went big for his team so far up to this point, especially in their week. The guy went off and now still getting it done here in the Global Pro League Stage 1 playoffs. John, on the other hand, we know how good he is with that SMG. Can he match the slaying power of OpTic Gaming? Up to this point, an uplink he has against other teams, but when facing one of the best in the world, the boys in blue need him most. Remember, this is an elimination match, and on the verge of going home. This has been your G Fuel key player matchup.
It's day 2 of the CWL Global Pro League Stage 1 $500,000 playoff. And I'll tell you what, buddy, so far it seems that the beasts that are E-United and OpTic Gaming have really awoken from a slow day 1 start.
Ooh, that gets me all excited on the inside of my body. But either way, Envy, they're not out of it yet. They're world champs for a reason. They know what it means to keep your composure in the biggest of matches. And they're not done quite yet. These first 2 games really very, very close. It was 3-3, sorry, in that S&D. OpTic then running away, especially with the clutch plays from Scump and Karma with the E-Rads, but now moving over to Uplink. This is throughout all of stage 1 up to this point. You see Scump right there, just above Slasher and JCap. Slasher and JCap, though. Look at the carries and throws we're seeing from them, near identical stats.
I was looking at how assert as the KD was from Formal and Hardpoint, just seeing rated up there. We know he's going to be on a new roster, fighting to get into stage 2. But this next match, I mean, I still go back to a conversation I had with Karma. I believe it was at Dallas when we were doing the player interviews, and he's like, I just don't get it. On paper, man, our rivals, the team we should be battling in every final, should be Envy. He's like, they have all the pieces, they have all the players, they have what it takes, you know, in clutch moments. He's like, I can't figure out why they aren't making those deep runs yet. What is it for you? Like, why isn't it clicking? Because I agree with them. Like, they should be in that spot. They seem to have it all.
I think the big thing for me was at the end of last game, of Black Ops 3, John and Apathy, for many people in the competitive Call of Duty scene, were hands down, far and away, the best 2 players in their respective role with that submachine gun. You cannot say the same thing right now, and I think that affects a lot of their play. It always seemed like the kills they were needing, the pressure they were putting on was always there at the end of last year. Right now in Infinite Warfare, that is not the case. Can they go off here to keep their tournament hopes alive at the Stage 1 playoff?
Well, it's time for Game 3, and they need it now. Speaking of Apathy, he's around the back, picking up 1 kill, second over the top, lost him for a moment, and Formal able to get it done with the NV4. It's going to be John at mid-map, playing around drone. He'll snag that as they start to push forward, try to get forward and ticket. Slasher already able to pick up 1. The pinch going to come in as John hits mid-map. Fortunately for him, Formal already waiting. Karma covering ticket as well, and it seems the push for now has been silent.
Wow, and look at the 2 NV4 setup from OpTic. Karma gets 2, Formal gets 2. As right there, they just let Envy sprint into these double ARs. Interesting to see the setup paying off so well so far on this map. They're still getting aggressive with it. That's 7 straight kills from Karma and Formal combined. Scump now getting involved, but OpTic forgot the drone for the second. There you go, the pass forward, the dunk. OG up 2-0.
Easy strike first. 60 seconds into the game, Formal yet to drop. Now K-Bar in hands, he's getting low with the NV4. Peeks inside, tags up the drone carrier. I don't think they realized there was a second there. A little bit of an unintentional bait and switch there as John able to clean things up. Formal still applying the aggression caught between guns. Slasher able to win that one and at least hold serve for now, but Krim in the green wall continuing to flood forward. 2 lining up for him, finally gonna fall. That's 3 kills coming in for Envy as they're able to clear their base.
And John now will take the drone because of it and look to begin the rotation. He's gonna have to drop this though, as Apathy's the only one alive ahead of him. Yeah, finally he does throw it on down, but it's too late as Scump gets him before his gun is up and ready. And now OpTic will look to punish because of it. They've got Envy still pinned in this back park area.
Slasher's at least been able to pick up a couple key kills from the backside with that NV4. It's slowed down a push from OpTic Gaming. His shot seems to be on. 2 kills in a row, and assist there to go as well.
Well, you mentioned Raiden, right? And how good he was in uplink for his team during his week. This was a map that he excelled on with the NV4 playing in the exact position Slasher just was for Envy. He was just always that guy. He was like the guardian angel of his team that would just watch over whatever his teammates were doing, clean up kills, and just slay out for his squad. Slasher trying to do that same thing here. Unfortunately, the pressure from OpTic just too strong right now.
Yeah, they're pushing forward. Now control of Statue. John, though, able to make some noise. 2 big ones from him. Silences the push. A third. John trying to get all 4 of OpTic Gaming. Reload there. 4th is there. John kills the entire side of OpTic. The push is silenced for the time being.
And now look at the drone moving forward. They've got it in the station, but it's Scump with the 1v1 win that'll stop Envy in their tracks at the moment. Through nearly 3 minutes of gameplay, it's still just a 2-point game with OpTic Gaming the only team on the board.
Yeah, and the drone hasn't, I mean, it's basically been tossed back and forth between Statue and Ticket. It hasn't really gone anywhere for either side as the kills continue to trade back and forth, but now Formal and OpTic getting pushed forward, drone in hand, gonna go for the 1-point toss, up over the top, and good. 3-0 lead with 2 minutes remaining here for OpTic. Scump still in a power position. Scump with 3 kills, 12 and 7, but there's nobody at the drone. Formal trying to track back.
Yeah.
Krim wrapped hopping around as well, but at least it delays the pushback from EnVy.
So think of the wall that EnVy has been pushing into so far, where they take the drone, move it towards Statue, and just try to outslay OpTic. It hasn't worked so far. Right now, OG, they were outslaying by 12 kills as they got that last score. EnVy with a couple off the respawn will swing this back towards their side a little bit, but either way, because of it, OpTic have gotten those 2 possessions and those 2 scores on the board. Finally, it does look like JCap should be able to go for 1. There it is, EnVy on the board after 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, you need to get something. I mean, Apathy, you know, we started off with him. You talked about the fact that he needs to kind of match the slaying power of EnVy. 5 and 13, not going to get it done. He's really got to pick it up. Let's watch him for a little bit, maybe see what's going wrong. If the shot's a bit off, if it's just the, you know, kind of the slaying power of OpTic that's getting to him.
Well, I'll tell you right now, already, things are getting into his head this map. Started off with the ERAT, now swap to the K-bar, a sign of a player who's just not too comfortable right now in the position he's in. We'll see if he has a better fare with this AR in his hand. As EnVy again look to go for a score. 50 seconds remaining inside 1. They've got the drone in towards OpTic base. 3 players there. John, though, gets the 1.
Beautiful stuff. I mean, a side that seemed dominated by OpTic Gaming, EnVy's kept it within 1 point. So as much as it looked like it was completely controlled from OpTic, you had a couple 3 pieces from Scump, yet Formal pushing forward continuously with that NV4. You only have a 1-point lead. Do you feel like maybe OpTic should have transitioned more points here?
Well, no, it's just simply EnVy just started getting kills. They were getting wiped for a bit there at -12. Now it's, I believe, a 5-kill difference, and it results in a difference in the score. That's all it is, man. Kills is everything. Slaying is everything from what we've seen stats-wise. And right now, EnVy have brought it back just a little bit. Going into the half, only down by 1, I think is a best-case scenario for EnVy.
There's a chance they could tie this up. Slashers cleared the way. We're going to have the deep 1 over the top, away. Not high enough. OpTic will remain up 1. And you got to feel good if you're EnVy, because you survived an early wave from OpTic where you were kind of getting crushed, playing off your back foot the entire time. Apathy basically triple negative to start the first half. Being down 1, hell, that's a blessing.
Yep, and we said it. Apathy and John, prior to this map, we need to see them go big. There's a look at EnVyUs, again on the verge of being eliminated, 5 minutes away from their Stage 1 playoff hopes being gone. Can they keep this comeback going? We're watching Karma in the break, though, with this NV4.
Karma pushing forward to Statue. There is a nade greeting his face. Trim, though, able to get the opening kill. A couple going back the way of EnVy. 3 down now for OpTic Gaming. Drone going to be in the hand of JCap as they start to push forward and strike first. Going up over the top. The deep 1 is away. It's good. 3-3 in the opening 25 seconds. Nice kind of first play there from EnVy.
You got to reset now if you're EnVy. Perfectly done. You're back to an even footing. Now just keep playing the way you have in the last 2 minutes as to why you've come back in this game. Scump 21 and 14, monster map from him so far. No points on the board, but either way, it's because he's been playing this lead blocker position. Fortunately, only able to get 1 with Slasher before the rest of his teammates do fall.
Well, let's look on board with Formal as he's going to end up dropping. We'll swap over to John's POV. He's inside lobby. We'll have a gunfight with Crim6. Nice slide. Gets the advantage there and gets drone in hand with that first touch. Karma weak in the back. 2 players there, but Scump and Karma cutting down everybody on the push. Apathy, the last remaining man for EnVy. And this has been a very, very low-scoring affair.
Yeah, and the fact that he takes 2 of them will give his team time to set up in the positions they now are in. Formal, now positive. Karma, now positive. It's a combined 6 streak between these two. It's like what we saw when they got their first dunk in that first half. Crim with this drone now, he's going to look to put OpTic back in the lead.
He's got some cover. There's the dunk, goes on through. All 3 going to drop. The Karma streak will end as well, but a perfect job assisting Crim in getting the dunk on in. Formal greets the first player, John, as he gets through. He's able to win that and now get the drone. EnVy now trying to push for a counterattack.
And the big thing there from OpTic was that they didn't tunnel vision on trying to set up for a relay. Their players that were there, ready to pre-aim, they surged forward. Basically, were just bullet sponges for Crim6 to get that dunk.
Yeah.
You saw how fast he died right after he scored. He didn't even touch the ground. EnVy were ready, but they killed 2 players before they can get to the guy with the drone. It's little things like that that help OpTic keep this lead.
And this has been a kind of typical North American uplink in the sense that we haven't seen a lot of successful flanks. Right now, Karma's actually trying to hit up the mid-street. This could work out really well. As Crim's going to hit, he has cover from both sides. The MV4 looking over him, the overdrive and the dunk. 6 scores for Crim6. And that was we haven't seen a lot of those 2-pronged attacks.
Oh gosh, the setup is now in position. OpTic have the players pinched from back alley for EnVy. Thankfully, JCap does get 2. John with the 3rd, and that's a game-saving play. That could have gotten out of hand quick either way. What was 3-3, now 7-3. And the only reason Crim winds up popping that payload right there, the overdrive to go for that dunk, is because Karma flanked all the way through ATM towards gas, told Crim, this is an open lane. I've got the portal covered for you, just go.
Well, it's funny because right before that happened, I was about to say, we haven't seen too many successful flanks. Not a whole lot of flanking. If you saw it, there's been a player kind of prone, waiting for it mid-street to not allow it to happen. Now, things starting to open up a little bit for OpTic Gaming with just 2 minutes remaining.
Well, if you think OpTic, when their struggles saw earlier in their Stage 1 regular season matches, their struggles were when they were getting flanked.
Oh yeah.
Now it's them doing the flanking. They've picked up those lanes. Hasn't affected them too far this map. Camo now ready for Karma as well. A great tool to use as this game winds down.
And Karma, I mean, he plays 2 roles, right? He's that second AR, putting the MV4 fire down to hold positions, or he's the one hitting the flank continuously when they need him to. We'll see if that comes into play yet again, but the fights in lobby going to be crucial. Apathy now with the 2-piece. 90 seconds remaining. Slasher with Camo. They have got to make a play here.
If he gets his kill, I think he goes for this drone.
They need to get the drone in his hands. Reactive armor gets popped. Scump's pretty weak. They still got nothing out. Nate from JCap is able to at least tear down Scump, but now you only have 2 men remaining. No points have come on through. Centurion's not going to help you score.
Oh gosh, Envy do all die. 1 minute left as well. OpTic with the drone again. They're beginning to flood forward. Slasher, though, does get a 2-piece because there was an accidental pass, I think, from OpTic Gaming. They passed it to Crit.
Gotta get points, gotta get points.
Went gun down. This should be a pass to Slasher and a dunk with Camo. Right now, pop it. There you go.
Goes.
7-5 will be the score. Envy not out of this one yet.
And he might be able to get a kill on the edge as well. At least able to pick up one. You already have a player in lobby here set up. It's going to be number 5. It's going to be John in lobby. He's got Apathy looking for it. As Apathy drops, he has to put it down. The defense locked down.
Oh,
Crim with the laser beam.
Centurion was dropped as well in that lobby area. You can see it tagging up players who were trying to retake towards that drone side of the map. Envy with the objective. They're going to move it towards construction. OpTic only have 1 member
What was
here.
that?
Formal spawning on the other side. Overdrive from JCap. Gets stopped by Karma, though. Puts himself in the best position. And now with Camo, it's time to play keep away. This should be done. Envy will be eliminated from the Stage 1 playoffs by OpTic Gaming, finishing 7th-8.
So we see both our top 2 teams early entrances to the losers bracket, but both bounce back with convincing wins. I know United's was a little bit more lopsided per se. These were tight games for the most part, but you got it done. Doesn't matter how much you win by, man. A 3-0 is a 3-0.
That's a big moment for the side of OpTic Gaming. They bounced back from a frustrating day yesterday on the biggest of stages so far in Infinite Warfare, win the series against a team that they've been rivals with forever, it seems like. So I think OpTic so far, they've already faced FaZe, they've already faced Envy. They've gotten 2 of their big titans that they normally have their battles with out of the way.
Well, I actually, when I was talking to, former the guys outside, they said, like, we feel okay. We know with the United being in the losers bracket, if we play them, we only have to play them once.
Yeah.
They'd be the team they're most worried, like, if they get to the grand final, but having to beat twice. If it's an LG team of FaZe, they feel like they can beat them in 2 best-of-5. United would be the team they most fear. They won't be in that position. I mean, both of them aren't going to get to the final, obviously, fighting through the losers bracket. So the guys feel like they're in a good spot. They showed it with this first series.
Wow. Envy are done just like that. The team that won Stage 2 last year before they went and won champs, now eliminated. Frustrating stuff from Envy. They've got a lot they want to work on, especially in the respawn game modes. You think of what they faced off with LG. They also lost a search to LG too. They lost a search to OpTic Gaming. They've got a lot to look forward to on the drawing board.
Well, I'll tell you what, we got the man with 2.5 minutes in the hard point in the overdrive plays on the stage. It's Crim6.
Thanks, Maeve. Here on the stage with Crim, and I know we didn't get a chance to speak to you last night after your loss against FaZe, so I want to kind of talk a little bit about that first. After you guys lose that match, big shock to you guys. What did you guys talk about, want to change up coming into today?
Honestly, nothing. We were just getting outgunned. Clay's a beast. Can't really touch him when he's on the top of his game. Absolute animal. And, we're just peasants compared to him.
Okay, well, I guess you come in today, you play a little bit better here. I know knowing you were going up against Envy, is there anything you guys knew, like a game mode you were worried about going up against them, or something you put more emphasis on coming into this match?
I watched VOD last night of their Breakout S&D, and that was like week 1, so that was like a week before Breakout S&D went into rotation. And I watched, and I was like, they don't really know what they're doing. And no, it's nothing against Envy, it was just no one played it before, so couldn't really take anything from that, and we just played our game.
Well, with a new map in the rotation, we'll talk about that Breakout S&D game number 2. Like, is there anything you guys have taken from other teams, or some new things that you guys have worked on that I guess you brought into that match, or going forward? Like, how do you like that map as an addition?
It's a weird map, man. It's a really weird map. I think a lot of people just do their hardpoint breaks and, you know, cross their fingers, and that's usually what happens. So Damon and Seth were destroying with the WRAD setup, so that was good.
Yeah, and then going into that Game 3 uplink, speaking of Scump a little bit the other day in the back, he was saying that's a game mode you guys have worked on coming into this. How do you guys feel about going forward through the tournament, you know, in your uplink game?
You know, we're feeling really confident in the respawns. I think that, you know, the whole FaZe series yesterday was, you know, we didn't really play to our level. And I think that as long as we win the second map, we're going to win the series no matter what.
Well, it was a strong performance from OpTic Gaming there, 3-0ing Envy. Let's go to the desk to get their thoughts on that match.
Thank you very much, Matt. As you heard, the 3-0 victory for OpTic Gaming over Team EnVyUs. They dispatched them in style. We'll break down that series now, of course, starting with map number 1, the Hardpoint. 250 to 231 in OpTic Gaming's favor. So the series started off pretty close, Momo. One of the key things that you actually noted was Karma in his fantastic playstyle.
Yeah, Karma was playing fantastic, and he was the one before the game that I said you've got to watch out for him on throwback. Things like Damon just kind of doing his own thing. It wasn't necessarily working with his team, but he was just going off, picking up kills, important kills at that. It wasn't just trades. But I will say, Apathy for the first 5-6 minutes of that hardpoint individually was fantastic. And then it was those last 3 minutes where OpTic just kind of flicked a switch. They turned up and they just kind of took it by storm. But I think there were a few mistakes by Envy as well.
Very true. And also to note, Karma using that hardline perk as well gets himself the streak so many times. I think
Speaking of doubled mistakes too, the mistakes on Envy, ab streak. I don't know why he called that in. They were up going into the bridge hill, and then he called his streak in, which is a contest hill. You don't really want to use your streak on a contest hill. I would have liked to see him save it for the statue hill or the fountain hill and have him break that hill with the streaks there rather than using it and not getting anything done with it at all.
Very true. And then, of course, as the game progressed, you got to that last hill, Aches, and things got a little crazy.
Right, so it came down to a streak battle at first. Karma obviously won it in the end, but for me, it was just Karma and Formal, right? Just completely outperformed Slasher and John. Like, you need those two guys to go big for you on your team, and when they're both neg 10, neg 5, and you have Karma and Formal going off, like, you're not going to win those matchup battles, and you just see OpTic clutching up in the end.
Exactly. It was like Krim and Formal were slaying inside the hill, great, putting the aggression there, and then you had Karma and Seth, great slaying around the hill. So all around great plays by OpTic. It was a close hard point.
Very close.
I thought it would.
What was interesting though was Karma was running an MV4 on throwback on every hill and making plays with it. And that's something that's so good about Damon is like you can give him any gun and he's able to
any role.
Yeah, and make any play that you need him to make, and that's what won him that game.
Yeah, completely agree. Moving on to map number 2, of course, OpTic Gaming 1-0 up. We go to the Search and Destroy breakout. It's a 6-3 victory for OpTic Gaming. But the first couple of rounds, Momo, to be fair, it was back and forth action.
I felt like the hard point where, you know, first 5 minutes or the first half, if you like, went to 3-3, it was back and forth, and no one was really kind of taking that step. But those last 3 rounds, 4-3, 5-3, 6-3, it was just like, you look away for a moment and OpTic Gaming just win the series. The 7th round, OpTic traded very, very well. 8th round, it was just super, super fast, aggressive gameplay from OpTic. And then that final 9th round where Karma comes in, he basically got a 3-piece. I think Formal stole it in the end.
Chased him down, yeah, they were hawking him.
It was just very quick rounds from OpTic Gaming, and to close it out again, it shows their composure, their endurance through not only a map, but a series.
Yeah, and there were so many rounds I feel like Envy could have won. They got clutched on that 2v3. I think you saw the other 3v2 they lost when Formal was able to get that 2-piece through the doorway on the bump. Like, just so many rounds that if they just cleaned up that play, they could have clutched them out, and we might have seen an S&D win for Envy there.
Potentially. Of course,
Formal was the first blood king that map. It's like he started off getting them the kills, and then you left it up to Karma and Scump to clutch up and finish the round. I think they did a great job in that search. It was the round where it was 4-3, the round that Envy really needed to win, that they pushed A, and then OpTic kind of shut them down and went up 5-3. You want to win that round and keep it neck and neck.
Right.
Once you get that 5-3 deficit in your head, you're like, all right, they need one more round. And it's hard to bounce back from that against OpTic.
Scump finishes 9-5 in the S&D. OpTic Gaming take it. They go 2-0 up in the series. Then we go to game number 3. And again, Mo, this one, it was close at the beginning parts and the moments. I mean, the first 4 minutes was pretty much OpTic Gaming just styling out, and then Envy somehow bring it back at the half. I mean, they had to feel pretty confident.
Yeah, I honestly think going into the half, speaking to proof actually during the game, it's like OpTic are dominating here, and they're going into the half like down 1. Like, they should be, you know, counting their blessings. They're going on to maybe the more preferred side, and I thought they honestly could push this, but OpTic Gaming once again, Apathy just didn't have that game. You know, he is that X factor sometimes alongside John, finishing -10 around. But a super, super strong start from Formal. He started 5-0. He could have actually gone for the, you know, the dunk himself and got streaks, but he opted not to do that. I'm not sure if that was the right play, but in the end, it worked out for them.
And it did seem like we all expect Apathy to be the player that would play good, no questions about it. And when you see him kind of struggling out there, having a rough game, it's going to be hard for Envy to win. I mean, John turned up. He was doing really good. Slasher was doing extremely well. Cap had the huge one to tie it. At the beginning of the second half, you thought they had a fighting chance. But if he picks up his slaying category, they have a better chance at winning that uplane.
And then for me, Krim had 6 objective points. His playmaking ability with the ball is almost unmatched in the league right now. Like, overdrive, his awareness of when to do what with your teammates, how to work your mini-map.
Waiting for them to push up.
Right, yeah.
Ball, yeah.
That slide dunk, when he slid out around the back ticket area and slid and you directional slid into the portal, like, I would have threw a 1 there, but, I mean, like, he just makes plays with the ball. It's impressive to watch.
That's why you're set there.
I love watching that, though. You're right.
I'm kidding. Before you start
you're right. I'll just wait till Koch.
Yeah, on the bright side for you two, he finally got a prediction wrong.
Yeah, he got a prediction wrong, and as well, OpTic break the 7th-8th curse. You know, they
do.
push on. They're in a top position.
Let's hear about you losing.
Well, speaking of champs, of course, tickets available. You can purchase those. They're on sale right now at mlg.tv/CWL. Champs, August 8th through 13th. And it's going to be Orlando, Florida this year. Excited for a bit of a mix-up.
Yeah, I think Joe said it yesterday. It's our first COD champs on the East Coast, and I think it's been a long time coming, right? It's that long West Coast flight. We don't want to go out there.
God,
man.
finally.
Yeah, we're back in Orlando.
I'll have a 2 to 3 hour flight. I'll be happy.
It's going to be warm. It's going to be fun.
Can't wait for COD.
3 hours, man. That's tough.
All right. Lucky for some of us, but 2 games played, 2 teams eliminated from the Stage 1 playoffs of the Call of Duty Global Pro League. Both Evil Geniuses and Team EnVyUs will be taking home $10,000. For United and OpTic Gaming, they stay alive in the losers bracket. Up next, it's MLG Primetime with our winners bracket semifinals. Splice versus Enigma 6, FaZe Clan versus Luminosity. We'll be back after this.